Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. Labour leader Ed Miliband has recorded a video in support of gay marriage and said same-sex weddings should be allowed in churches. His call goes further than the policy being proposed by the Tory Lib Dem coalition government, which only proposes to allow gay marriages in civic settings. But supporters of traditional marriage have accused all party leaders of playing politics with marriage and being out of touch with the priorities of ordinary people. Colin Hart of the Coalition for Marriage said, "Party leaders should stop using the institution of marriage as a political weapon to beat their opponents. The public is crying out for leadership, which will revive the economy and improve our public services. But the party leaders at Westminster are obsessed with issues like gay marriage. They're completely out of touch with the real needs of millions of ordinary people." Delegates at the Liberal Democrats' annual conference have passed a motion in support of assisted suicide and euthanasia. The motion reaffirmed the Liberal Democrat support for medically assisted dying, calling for a debate and free vote in Parliament on the issue. Chris Davies, MEP, who moved the motion, said, "As the recent case of Tony Nicholson demonstrated, there are a number of people with conditions that inflict unendurable suffering and from which they have no chance of recovering, who want to end their lives but are unable to do so without medical assistance. It's proposed that special courts or panels would be created to decide individual cases when it came to those who are severely disabled. But critics say that if assisted suicide were allowed, proposed safeguards could not be trusted." Professor John Wyatt of University College London gave us his reaction to the Lib Dems proposal.
I'm afraid it is true that in our society there are a small number of people who desperately want to die. They want to commit suicide. They can't do it themselves and they say, well, I want a doctor to do it for me. But you know, that's to make a travesty of what medicine is all about. I've spent my life as a doctor caring for vulnerable patients and babies. And medicine is about caring. It's not about killing. It's about doing the best for everybody. But it's not about bringing death where death doesn't occur. So the answer for our society is not medical killing. The answer is better care, better palliative care at the end of life.
A top barrister has accused UK's equality laws of acting as a barrier to tolerant attitudes. JON HOLBROOK, writing for the online publication Spiked, said, "Today's laws do not have the promotion of tolerance, religious or otherwise, as an objective. Indeed, their very wording is concerned not to grant greater freedom, particularly from the state, but to restrict behaviour between individuals." Referring to the case of Lillian Nadell, the Christian registrar who was forced out of her job because she did not wish to conduct civil partnerships, Mr Holbrook said that Islington could have accommodated her views and done so without harm being caused to anyone, save for those with an unreasonably sensitive disposition. What discrimination law does not and cannot do is come to the aid of those who suffer from a lack of tolerance. A Christian councillor in Brighton who was expelled by her local Green Party last week has received backing from the leader of Brighton and Hove's Liberal Democrats. Brian Stone criticised the Green Party's decision to dismiss Christina Summers because she voted against gay marriage. In a letter to a local newspaper, Mr Stone described the Green Party group's actions as intolerant and authoritarian. Mr Stone said he personally supports gay marriage and doesn't agree with Councillor Summers' position, continuing, "But given this woman's genuine, heartfelt difference of opinion, does it really call for the use of the party jackboot? The Greens' action is almost Stalinist." Councillor Summers is set to appeal the decision and in the meantime will sit as an independent councillor. Meanwhile, the words mother and father are set to be stripped from official documents in France under controversial plans to redefine marriage. The move would see only the word parents used in identical marriage ceremonies for both heterosexual and homosexual weddings. François Hollande, the French president, has pledged to introduce same-sex marriage in his manifesto. The draft law, which will be presented to the Cabinet for approval next month, claims that marriage is a union of two people of different or the same gender. High-stake gaming machines found in betting shops could be given a £2 a go spending limit. The machines currently allow gamblers to stake £100 a time and up to £1,800 an hour. The government wants to take a look at previously relaxed gambling regulations and has ordered a complete review. Don Foster, Liberal Democrat Communities Minister, has said he would like to introduce the £2 limit as the high-stake machines are ruining people's lives as they chase their losses. Around 60,000 churches in America have received letters warning them not to preach about the moral beliefs or policies of presidential candidates ahead of the upcoming election. The churches have been told that their tax-exempt status will be revoked if they talk about such issues from their pulpits. The letters have been sent by a group called Americans United for Separation of Church and State, ahead of the presidential election on the 6th of November. But religious liberty lawyers have told churches not to be intimidated into silence because the US Constitution protects their freedom of speech. Erik Stanley of Alliance Defending Freedom said, "These letters are nothing more than intimidation tactics. Churches must not be afraid. They need to stand and proclaim biblical truth during this election season, and there's nothing wrong with doing so." So far, more than 1,000 pastors said they will ignore the threats and preach sermons that present biblical perspectives on the positions of the candidates. Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.